think especially like being women, the beauty standards, both the Western and the Asian beauty standards are like, it's a lot.
People who may experience eczema from different flare-ups, different triggers, they all experience the same pain. You're worried that people are going to notice these things and portray this image of you that you're ugly, but you're not.
How has it been for you now to learn to accept your skin and being like, this is who I am and I am beautiful as I am? So today we're talking all about skin sensitivities, whether that's eczema, psoriasis, rosacea, all of the above. Living with skin sensitivities is a daily for so many people, but it can affect so much of who we are today, whether that's how to navigate daily life or the challenges that we face and the self-acceptance when it comes to all of the beauty standards in the world. So today I'm actually joined by Simmy,
Hi.
who is the founder of NKD Jewellery, a jewellery company that specialises in creating jewellery for people who suffer with skin sensitivities. Simmy, hello!
Hi, thank you for having me on here.
So Simmy, I know I said that you are you own a jewellery brand.
Yeah.
But tell me more about you.
I'm based in London. I've been kind of created my passion for jewellery for about 2.5 years now, and I've realised that I feel that's a bit of a niche in the industry, and for me, having eczema and being able to kind of find something that not only advocates and makes me feel transparent, makes me feel kind of imperfectly perfect, I wanted to spread that message a bit. And I've been running business about 2.5 years, like I've mentioned already, but my background actually is in chemistry. So I used to be a scientist back in the day. So I wanted to combine both my passion for jewelry as well as my knowledge of chemistry and my knowledge about metals to kind of create the baby, which is NKD Jewellery.
And we're going to get more into NKD later on in this podcast. So yeah, so we both suffer from eczema. And I think this is also like one of the reasons that we decided to have this podcast chat today is that living with skin sensitivities and how it affects us as human beings. I think especially like being women, the beauty standards, both the Western and the Asian beauty standards are like, it's a lot. And I feel like we also put so much pressure on ourselves to like look a certain way or be a certain way.
Yeah.
And I think when you have skin sensitivities like eczema or rosacea or psoriasis or anything like that, we kind of like start to feel like we are not normal
Yeah.
or we're not pretty enough or we're not beautiful enough and all of that. And
I think it's very common, but we, for some reason, especially in the South Asian community, we kind of hide it and pretend we're perfectly fine, we're normal, hide your eczema, hide the scars.
yeah,
You know.
I did like research around it to kind of just understand like what is it. So it says that eczema kind of stems from genetic factors or a weakened skin barrier or like an overactive immune system, and everyday irritants can like affect it. So basically like it says that your skin has like a protective brick wall, but because of the eczema it kind of has like tiny cracks, so the moisture escapes while irritants like soaps or allergens can like sneak in and your skin can get super sensitive. And that when that happens and like your skin is like, oh, I don't like this thing, whether that's like a soap or a detergent or a perfume or an allergen or whatever it is, they are like, oh, I don't like that. And then it sets off this big reaction, which is what makes our skin like really red and itchy and inflamed. And it's also like really interesting because it's not just that, it's also the fact that other things can trigger it too, whether that's like the weather or stress is like
Stress is a big
big one. Yeah. It's different for different people. And we are not medical professionals. We're just here speaking about our own experiences with eczema. So if you do feel like you have eczema or any kind of skin sensitivity, then please go and consult your doctor about it so that you can get the right treatment and medication. Yeah, I think, Simi, what I wanted to like talk about was like, how has it been for you? Like, how did it begin? Like, when did you know that you had eczema?
I've always had eczema since growing up. I think probably when I was probably around about 10, 11, I noticed that I would get dry skin a lot. But then from the doctor's perspective, it was just dry skin. It wasn't a confirmed diagnosis of eczema.
Yeah.
And then as the years went on, I started to wear jewelry or anything that would cause it to cause a trigger, which I didn't know at the time. And I'd see those like patches and scars and TMI, like your skin would start to crack and it'll bleed. It's horrible. I'm sorry. I had to bring that up. But yeah, I think growing up, it just throughout the years, it just got progressively worse, and to the point where I've got scars on my hands because of how bad they get. And for me, like you said about the different triggers, it's different for everyone. But for me, it's definitely the cold weather, and also certain liquids and soaps and detergents. Definitely, I get that. And
Mm.
there's one this soap detergent that really reacts to my skin for some reason. I'm always wearing like gloves to protect my hands, but they always say use moisturizer, it'll go away, but it never goes away.
Yeah.
It might calm down, but it doesn't go
And
away.
I think that's also the thing, like it's not something that is like you take a medicine and it's done, it's gone. It like flares up in certain points of your life,
Yeah.
but also you have to learn to live with it as well. Like I feel like I had eczema when I was like ever since I was a baby. And
Wow.
I think it was like on like the backs of my legs and then also like my elbows. But I always just dealt with it and always kind of like put cream on it, and like it was just so normal to me. Like to have it, and I remember my dad would just be like, don't itch it, don't itch it, don't itch it.
Even though it's so, you just really want to,
Just
right?
really
Yeah.
want to. And it's just like, and then I think it kind of like, I think my journey was a little bit like it stopped and then it like flamed up again when I was at uni, and especially during exam time, it's like when it used to flare up. And I never used to have eczema on my hands, but now like it's the most prevalent place that I do have it.
Mm.
Like, and so especially with your hands when it's like daily stuff, like you're using it every day, it's so
It
exposed.
is, the skin's exposed, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you do so much with your hands, like whether it's like washing up or like wearing makeup or doing everyday activities, you will just do that with your hands. Like, so yeah, it was just like really annoying because it's just like as much as that we're talking about it to be like, oh yeah, it's such a part of like it's so ingrained in our lives, do you know what I mean? To like have to take care of it
Yeah.
and all of that. But like how did that make you feel when you like started realizing you had all this dry skin and you like the doctor diagnosed you and you had eczema?
Oh, so with that, I noticed as throughout the years or the past few years, the eczema around my eyes used to flare up and behind my ears, and then TMI, my hands like yourself and my elbows. And I just felt as though I wasn't pretty enough, and you just have that constant low self-esteem about you're trying
Yeah.
to fit this societal norm of being beautiful and meeting these beauty standards, and you feel though it's not compelling enough for you because you can't reach that. And it does make you feel very self-conscious. I remember when I was younger, or even now, well, not now, but a couple of years ago, if you see pictures of me back in the day, I would find angles where I'm hiding my hands because I don't want my hands to be in the photo because like I
Yeah.
will notice it,
Yeah.
and it used to bother me, and I'd be trying to hide it. But now I'm thinking to myself, why am I hiding it? Because we're here to kind of empower and embrace the fact that we're imperfectly perfect. Just
Yeah.
because of our skin sensitivities doesn't define who we are.
Exactly. And I think
Yeah.
that's such a big part, but like when it's so prevalent in like your life, and it's like it's almost like that thing where because I was thinking about this, like you all like no one probably sees it as much as we see it as well because we shine a spotlight on it as well. So we're almost like oh, and it's making us feel really insecure, and it does add to the insecurity. Like I felt it too, where I was like, oh, I feel like I have really crusty hands, or like I feel like I'm like my elbows are crusty, or like I now have hyperpigmentation marks on my legs. And then if I'm wearing like a dress or a skirt, I feel very self-conscious about my legs, or like all of this kind of stuff. So it all adds up because like
Mm.
we see it every day, and we like how many times do we look at our hands or we look at our face, and you're just a bit like I think I don't know why, but we always look at the negatives. I was like, I have this pimple patch, or oh my god, my skin's really red, or I have this like eczema mark, or I have hyperpigmentation, and it does add to that. And it's like we put a spotlight on all of our imperfections, thinking that other people are going to put a spotlight on our imperfections, but they're dealing with their own imperfections, so they're not even looking at yours.
I know, and the thing is, we point out our own flaws like with a magnifying glass, but no one sees it from the other
Yeah,
side. It's just
exactly.
we kind of see those issues because we assume it's a big deal,
Mm,
and it shouldn't be. But the society, as life goes, we do kind of focus on that, which is a shame. Like you said,
yeah,
we focus on the negative rather than
and the
the positive, and
positive.
we should embrace our beauty no matter what we're
Mm.
feeling or what's on our skin or anything like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I remember like when I got my diagnosis, I was like like really young and I didn't really like know much about it. I just knew that like yeah, my skin gets itchy sometimes. And I think as a kid that's all you kind of know, right? Like
Yeah.
oh, my skin gets itchy
Yeah.
sometimes, that's okay. So once I got into like my early 20s, I think especially during uni is like when it really flared up for me. And I think it got to the point where it became like painful. Like my hands would swell up, or I would like just look at them and I'd be like, it would just be really flaky. And then I had to go to the doctors a few times and they gave me like different steroid creams to like maintain it and
Yeah.
all of that. And it was just like really difficult. And it just started affecting my daily life in so many different ways. I found it really difficult to wash dishes. I found it
Yeah.
really difficult to like cut vegetables. So how was it for you? Like, how did your eczema affect like your daily life?
Same with you. Even just washing my hands, I'd have to I had to literally research the best soaps for sensitive skin,
Mm.
and that enabled me to have no issues or irritation. But like you said, washing up dishes and cutting vegetables or just preparing food would irritate my skin all the time because I could feel it going into the cuts and stuff, and it would bother me. But I have to just grin and bear it, and it
Mm.
wasn't great. So it did make me feel very self-conscious because you have, like you said, an expectation of what you're supposed to be doing, and others around you who don't really know what's going on unless they really know you, they just make you want to, they just expect you to do something that you have to carry on, and you're
Yeah.
fine. And societal norms assume that having eczema just makes you feel it's just a condition, but it's not a serious condition. That's
Mm.
how people assume and
Yeah.
have this ideology behind it. And I feel that like everyone's different, but people who may experience eczema from different flare ups, different triggers, they all experience the same pain,
Yeah.
unfortunately. And it doesn't help sometimes. Like, I remember trying to deal with it, and I was in school once, and this wasn't even to do with me feeling uncomfortable with my skin. I remember just a little chit chat with somebody I knew, one of the other students, and she was a part-time model or something like that. And I, as a joke, wasn't planning to be a model. Of course, I'm not planning to be a model, but I said to her, "Oh, maybe I could be a model." She goes, "No, there's like certain thing categories and like requirements." I was like, "All right then." A little bit of a pop the bubble moment sort of thing, burst the bubble moment. But I was like, "Okay." She goes, "Actually, let me see your hands." And I just showed her just as a joke, like, "Oh, what do you think?" And she literally was like, "Yeah, don't. That your hands are awful. They would not accept that." And I remember, even this is going about 15 years ago,
Mm.
and I still to this day remember it like it was yesterday because it made me feel so self-conscious because for me, I was dealing with it alone, and now
Mm.
someone else is pointing out the fact that
That.
I have this
Mm.
condition or my hands are
Yeah.
considered ugly. It made me feel super self-conscious and have that low self-esteem that I'm not beautiful, I'm not pretty. And
Yeah.
with like the societal norms in the media and the celebrity world and Bollywood, Hollywood, whatever, you need to have soft, supple skin, like amazing, like glass skin, this, that, and the other. But how do you do that if you have these conditions? You feel like you're kind of a bit of a black mark in that sense, or
Yeah.
a black sheep in that sense. You feel a bit different and like completely completely blocked out from everything else, if that makes sense.
My worst flare up, I think, was actually like at uni. It was during final year winter January exams. So it was
Oh
like the weather
no.
plus exam stress.
It's like double the amount of
Yeah.
pain. Oh,
And
bless
I
you.
remember I got a flare up on my face, and I think I've never had a flare up on my face before. And I think all the other ones I kind of got really used to. So I got really used to like it just being on my legs and being on my arms and it being on my hands. I'm like, yeah, like whatever. But on my face, I think that's when it was a bit like, and it was so top of mind. Like every time I looked in the mirror, I was like, oh my God, I just don't feel pretty.
Oh,
Or I was like, oh my God, why is it getting bigger? Why is it not going away? And I think because it affects so much of you, right? Like I think it affects your confidence. It affects the way you think about yourself. I think it affects the way that you think others perceive you as well. Like we live in, like you said, we live in a society where the beauty standards are like so
ridiculous.
ridiculous. Yeah. Where it's like you have to be a certain weight, a certain shape, a certain size, a certain skin color, like all of that. Like it's that your skin is supposed to be a certain way. You're supposed to look a certain way. And like because I feel like I know that for me, I've had that ingrained in my head ever since I was growing up, watching Hollywood movies, Bollywood movies, whatever it is, that for me is the norm. So when you kind of try and fit outside of that norm, especially if it comes to your skin, you almost have this like instantaneous like, why is it not going away? Why is it not going away?
You feel different, you're not conforming,
Yeah.
essentially.
Also, like, I remember when it was on my face, I was literally like, okay, how do I get rid of this really quickly? And then I'll Google all these things and be like, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do that. And then because I saw it on my face, I stressed out even more, which
Oh
made it
no.
even
Oh
worse.
bless.
So it's like, I'm just like, you just don't help yourself. But when you go into that like frenzy of like, oh my God, what's this doing? Why is it hurting? What's this? Like, it's such a,
Spiral.
yeah, you spiral
Yeah.
because it's also the first time you're doing it. Do you know what I mean? And I think I'm the sort of person that I like to be mentally prepared for all stuff.
Same. I have
So
to plan.
yeah,
I need to know what's happening. I do not like to be a little bit spontaneous and not know what's going to happen right at the end, you know? So I get
yeah,
it. And you can't plan when you have a flare up. It
exactly. It just
happens.
happens. I
Yeah.
think like that was also just really annoying. I remember just like putting makeup on it, but makeup would make it
Oh no, I was going to say
stink.
that's going to make it worse. I know I've done that. And around the eyes, I've tried to put a bit of concealer. That sensation, it hurts
It's
so
so bad.
much. And it makes it worse because you can see the dryness even more. It
Yeah.
shows up and it's like you're trying to cover it, but
But
it's still going to appear.
I feel like if anything, it's gonna make it worse because of like what's in makeup. But at the same time, you're just a bit like you just want it to go away,
Yeah.
and you just want to be like, okay, cool. I just want it to go away as much as possible. Like even now, I look back at pictures of like that time, and I'm like, I can't even notice the flare up. Like I notice it, but it's not the first thing I noticed to be like, oh, by the way, yeah, I was suffering from eczema at that time. I think I was just a bit like, oh yeah, it was just final year of uni. Like, but in that moment, that was the only thing I could think about was how do I get rid of this? Like, how do I get rid of this flare up? Or like, why I don't feel pretty enough? Or oh, people are just gonna look at me with this like patch on my face. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you go through all these different like
Emotions and
emotions.
worries and I understand. I've been there, I've done that. And I remember like even with before I created NKD Jewellery, I was very nervous to kind of put myself out there. And because I admire everyone who has lovely long nails with nail polish and stuff, but I know for a fact with me I need them to be really short. And I wouldn't say they're amazing, but they're really short. Like you can have a
Mm,
look. And I feel like I can't fit into societal norm of having feminine hands because my nails are short. And for me, I have to cut them that short because I will scratch. No matter how long they are, I will scratch. And I won't even think about it until I realize I see those scars and those scabs and I realize I shouldn't have done that. So,
mm,
but I've had people say to me a few times saying, your nails need to be longer. Why have you got such like manly nails? And for me, you wouldn't assume someone would be horrible enough to say that, but I've heard it and it's made me feel even more self-conscious. And
yeah.
before I created this, I was a bit nervous to kind of advocate, but I realized for a moment, wait, if I'm trying to prove that I can feel pretty no matter what on the inside and on the outside, I want others to feel the exact same. And
Mm,
I completely empathize and completely
mm,
understand how it may feel for you because it's horrible initially. The initial worry is you're not, it's just happening to you. You feel kind of an outsider, and
yeah.
beauty in itself has so many different categories and levels, and we feel like we're not even reaching the bare minimum, you know.
I get that, but yeah, like you said, like eczema is like so common. Like 1 in 5 kids in the UK, 1 in 10 adults in the UK. It was also like doing research, and like the British Journal of Dermatology was saying how the UK is one of the biggest high proportion of people globally who have eczema because of like environmental factors, the weather, all of that. So it's like it's interesting to be like 1 in 10.
It's common.
It's so common. How has it been for you now to learn to accept your skin and being like, this is who I am and I am beautiful as I am?
It took quite a while. It's only a few years ago I started to feel confident about who I am, and it really did. I wish I could say it happened very early on in my life, but self confidence really had to grow. I had to develop that over years to really accept who I am. But I remember, like, even now, I would wake up in the middle of the night scratching my elbow and trying to find like different creams, even over the counter medication to help deal with it. And it's going through so many different creams, different moisturizers, and trying to see which one works for you because there's no
Mm,
one size fits all, right?
yeah.
But I have to literally just go on with my day and just accept who I am because I can't change who I am. Nobody is perfect. And It did take a toll initially to really accept that my hands aren't beautiful, I don't feel beautiful, my skin isn't great, I feel like I'm not the perfect person. But then I realized after reading a lot of like books and a lot of research, a lot of self-development, it allowed me to kind of be grateful for who I am and
Yeah.
where I am and who I am, essentially who I am again, but where I've been and what I'm experiencing and embracing the eczema because the pain is there, but um, being able to just deal with the pain, but talk about it. I feel like
Mm.
that conversation isn't there. And even in South Asian community, you have to fit a certain stereotype, a certain societal norm. We have to follow these standards. And for me, I used to never wear jewelry. I hated wearing jewelry.
I relate to you on that because same.
I refused to wear Indian or artificial jewelry because something about that would cause my skin to either turn green, it would irritate the eczema a lot.
Yeah.
And then there'll be people saying, you just need to wear it, it goes with the outfit. But why? I don't want to. I don't feel comfortable. I'm going to be constantly irritated throughout the day.
Yeah.
And there'll be times where, like, halfway through, like, a wedding, for example, I'll take it off because I'm done with it. Because why am I bothering to keep it on when I know it's really, like, triggering and really reacting with my skin? But, like, I used to be a people pleaser and I just deal with it and deal with these aunties, but I don't know how it sounds now selfishly, but I need to think about myself, number one. I think that's really important. We focus on ourselves and then think about everybody else
Yeah.
because no one knows what you're going through unless you know?
I think that's also the thing, right? Is that people just say the comments because they just say it for the sake of saying it,
Yeah.
but they don't actually understand the impact of what that might have on you. Like, how many people probably know that, oh, by the way, Simmy's suffering from eczema, for example, or Preeti's suffering from eczema. Like, you wouldn't know that unless, like you said, like, unless they like really, really know you
Yeah.
as well. So, for sometimes people just say the comments or they're like, oh, you just do it because you have to do it, right? But not understanding how that like affects the other person because you're not having to deal with the aftermath of it. You've just said it and you've just moved on with your life, and for them it's just a passing comment.
I know for a fact that dealing with these comments, you feel as though you're going to be judged all the time and you try to hide it and
Yeah.
just deal with the pain and wear the jewelry and just crack on without without really accepting that this isn't good for you
Yeah.
and you just don't want to seem abnormal,
Yeah.
and just be kind of essentially judged because especially in the South Asian community, I don't like to say it, but there's a lot of judging involved.
There,
I don't know how about you, but definitely.
I think growing up there has been like a lot of, I feel like I used to get really scared to go to family stuff because I'm just scared of being judged. Like,
Yeah, same.
similar to like on the jewelry front, like I don't really wear that much jewelry. Like I think the most I really wear is just earrings
Mm.
and maybe a necklace, but like never worn like rings. Obviously I have my kara and all of
Yeah,
that kind of
yeah.
stuff, but like don't ever wear rings. And people, I feel like it's the opposite because people like say to me, like, oh, your daughter's really simple.
That's simplicity.
They just like, oh, she's so simple. And I'm like, is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Like, okay, I don't know how to like take that.
They don't really give you a positive or a negative. It's just
Yeah,
very
she's like, oh yeah, they're just
random.
like, oh, your daughter's just so simple. She doesn't wear anything. If we go to like a wedding, for example, I'd probably like the most I'll wear is earrings. And I'll be
Yeah.
like, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? I'm like, nah. And she's like, isn't it a bit too simple? And I was like, yeah, it's comfortable. It's
Comfort.
comfy.
Speaking of comfort, I know this is totally off topic. Even like, I feel like I'm exposing myself, but like lengas. I wear
Trainers.
trainers. It's
Same.
so comfortable. Comfort is like paramount now. I do not care.
Same. It was like no
Yeah.
one's gonna see my
It's
shoes.
hidden,
It's hidden. If
Yeah.
I'm gonna dance, I'm gonna have a good time. I do not want to be in heels. And also, like, I can't wear heels. I wear trainers all the
I know.
time.
I'm like Bambi on ice when I wear heels. Oh my god, I think I can't wear stilettos. I can't balance. I feel literally, yeah, Bambi on ice for me.
Yeah. But it's also really painful as well. The guys just walk off and I'm like, hello, hi.
Mm.
Like, I'm just there like dip, dip,
Tiptoeing
dip,
over
dip,
to not
dip, dip.
fall.
Yeah.
But the best feeling is when you take your heels off
God,
and they're
yes.
just flat. Oh.
You know how like in the like early 2000s and you see like all these like movies like Devil Wears Prada or like
Yeah.
Friends or like all of this
Wearing
and everyone's
heels.
wearing heels all the time and I'm just there like how? Like literally how? Because I will wear them for 1 hour, my feet are numb.
My back hurts, you know? Yeah.
Literally everything hurts. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh God. But that's the thing that's on my mind. It's like, I just can't wait to take these off.
Or I try to find a seat to keep my feet up and I'm not actually putting any weight on my heels. But yeah, no. I don't know. Like, I even asked my mum this. I said to her, how could you wear these boots with the heels or this, that, and the other with heels? I need my trainers. I need flat shoes.
Yeah.
They're comfort. Same with eczema. You need to be comfortable. Take your jewelry off if you don't feel comfortable.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And I don't recall a single time over the past 15 years where I've worn, apart from now, wearing jewelry with my Indian outfits.
Really?
No, the only time I wore it was probably my brother's wedding. And I was reacting so badly, but I just had to grin and bear it because I needed to wear it. But I remember taking off my jewelry at the end of the night, my ears were bleeding. Like, it was really bad. And I was just thinking to myself, I need some like Sudocreme, I need something to calm it down, or some aloe vera. And yeah, and I remember I took my necklace off. I kid you not, and this sounds like I'm over exaggerating, but I looked like Shrek green. It was just green. And my neck just turned green. And I thought to myself, that's not normal.
That's not normal.
This is not what I should be. This is why I don't wear jewelry.
Yeah.
Or Indian, or certain artificial jewelry.
Yeah, I get that. We spoke about it, but like it does affect your self-image as well. Like if you're saying that like your neck is now all turned green and you're just a bit like, what do I do? This is not
It doesn't rub off.
It doesn't rub off,
no,
and you just have to wait
off.
for it, and you have to wait for your skin to like calm down. How has like having eczema like affected your confidence?
I had low confidence as a result of it. My self-esteem was really low. I had to obviously present myself and portray this image of myself like I'm fine, I'm great. But deep down, I would try and cover my skin. I would just put my sleeves up, hide the scars, cover my neck, or try and keep my hair in front of my ears. Obviously, I'm doing it now, but because that would hide like the scabs, because you're worried that people are going to notice these things and portray this image of you that you're ugly, but you're not. And that's been constantly on my mind for years, that there's this perception of beauty, and I know we mentioned this earlier, that we have to fit this category and criteria. And that was my constant challenge to kind of eventually accept that this is never going to change, but also appreciate that that's who I am. That's my individuality. That makes me unique to be the way I am. And yeah, it's not great having eczema, but it's also, not many people know this, but it's also considered as a chronic condition.
It is yeah.
And it's not heavily known compared to other conditions that are more heavily announced in the media or whatever, or in the public. But eczema is chronic and it's never going to go away, and I just have to accept that, and the times when it's never there, I'm grateful. I'm jumping up and down like it's perfect. But when it comes back in the middle of the night, I'll just scratch. But I just have to accept that my confidence has to increase, because the eczema doesn't portray itself. It's who I am inside. It sounds really cliche, but it's who you are on the inside that makes and portrays the way you are on the outside.
Like, I completely get that. I feel like I've always suffered with like low, like especially like when it comes to body image or like my self image and like being beautiful and all of that. Like I feel like I've always struggled with it from such a young age, because I've also been a lot chubbier compared to like the beauty standard, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel as though like I've always been very self-conscious about the way I look in terms of like my weight or my body composition or anything like that. But then at the same time, then having eczema and being like, oh, but now my hands are crusty, and now this, and this, oh, this hurts. Like, I think all of it then adds on to like, if you already have a very low confidence of yourself, when anyways, having something else then just lowers it even more, right? And then you almost feel like, oh my God, like you start to question it, to be like, oh, am I pretty enough? Or am I beautiful enough? Or like,
will others consider me as pretty?
Yeah, or like, or you like take a picture of yourself and you're just like, oh no. And we all do it, and it's really interesting because I'm like, you go on holiday with your friends, you all take a picture. As no one will be like, yeah, I look hot in that picture. everyone is like,
Everyone
no.
critiques it, right? Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
So it's such a universal thing. And I think
Mm.
it's because of like, we've been living with these beauty standards for like
Since we were born,
literally.
essentially.
And it's like, I think also being like South Asian and growing up in the West is two conflicting beauty standards as well. Because like, I feel like in Asian culture or South Asian culture, there's a lot of you being fair and you being
I was
lighter.
just going to touch that, yeah.
And in Western, it's like you want to be tanned, you want to be like olive, you want to be
Orange.
glowy, you don't want to be pale. And I'm just like, which one do
Where
I
do you kind of fit in,
fit
right?
literally?
There's no like complete outlet that allows you just to be yourself, you know? And I know from like the more Bollywood, like that area, you'd have to, like you said, fair skin, clear skin, smooth skin, you know? And that you can see where I'm going, it's to do with your skin.
Yeah.
And you have this complete like requirement that your skin needs to be amazing. Other people won't view you as pretty. Other people won't think you're good looking, this, that, and the other. And then that impacts your self-esteem, right? And for years, I didn't really consider myself as pretty or beautiful. And even though others might say, "Yeah, you are this and the other," but you don't believe it, right? You need to accept
Yeah.
it, right? Yeah.
How does it feel when someone gives you a compliment?
I don't accept it. It's so I feel very awkward because I'm
Same.
like, oh, thanks, but are you sure? I'll respond with a question or a negative comment about myself, and if someone says you look good, and I'm like, no, but this is wrong and this is wrong, and can you
Yeah.
not see this? And they're like, no, I wouldn't have noticed that until you pointed it out right now. And then that's when you realize, wait, hold on, they're not noticing what I'm noticing. I'm only realizing because I've got this magnifying glass pointing out all my flaws.
Yeah.
And that's not normal. And that's not good. And unfortunately, that's how we all are, you know? And I wish there was a way where I could go back in time and just say to my younger self, don't keep listening to those negative thoughts. Appreciate that one day you'll look back and think, oh, I'm glad I've accepted myself. I'm glad
Yeah.
I affirmed who I am, because it's gonna be at this point of your life where not have that self-confidence and kind of have those constant mental challenges to kind of feel appreciated and accept who you are. And I know I've said that a few times, but I really really advocate that.
How can someone accept who they are? Like what are some of the things that you've kind of like done to get to like where you are today?
A lot of affirmation, I think, for sure, and like conversations with other people, because I've noticed that if I don't talk, people don't really know about the condition. And you'll be really surprised when I've had a conversation with someone and they say they're actually going through the same thing as what you're going through.
Yeah.
When we had that conversation, I was like, oh my God, that's
There's
incredible.
someone else.
You're
Like,
not the only one, right?
yeah. And I really hope like people listening or watching, like if you're going through something similar, like to know that like you're not the only one. And I think like those experiences are quite universal.
That's so true. And I remember like, because predominantly we're online, my business is online, but I do the odd in-person pop-up, and getting to meet so many amazing customers. They tell me about their stories, and then they say, oh, but I was like this and I never liked this because it would irritate my skin, this, that, and the other, and my eczema got really bad. And then it felt as though there's like a community of everybody that know how you feel, understand, and accept who you are, because
Yeah.
if those conversations aren't really happening, then it does impact your own self-esteem, because you're kind of in your mind a little bit, you know.
Like I've tried to like do the whole affirmation thing and I look in the mirror, I'm like, I look cute today. But there's just times where you have like those bad days where you're like, I know I look cute, but
This is wrong. This is
this
wrong.
is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong.
That's happened. Don't worry. I've had that too.
And sometimes you're just like, yeah, kind of cute. Kind of not though. Like, it's all right.
You have to learn to love yourself. That's the thing. And for years, I didn't really do that properly. Only a few years ago, I've started to kind of love myself a lot more and understand myself and just feel like happy about who I am, because you never experience your life again, you know.
It's true.
This is your only life to experience, and I'm not going to say like YOLO or anything like that, as cheesy as that sounds, but we need to live in the moment, and we shouldn't keep criticizing our flaws, but focusing on like the positives, you know, because who else is going to tell you if you're by yourself? You need to keep kind
It's
of affirming that
true.
and telling yourself that.
And also, I feel like you can't wait on other people to say it to you. That makes sense. If you're
Yeah.
always going to be waiting for someone to compliment you or waiting for someone to be like, hey, by the way, you look really pretty today. You don't get that every day. You're only going to be like, oh, I'm not pretty now because
You
someone
didn't
didn't tell
tell
me
me.
that. Yeah, they didn't tell me that I'm pretty. Like,
But definitely, I really also, I don't know about you, but definitely your support network really
mm,
helps you because I've been very fortunate in my family. Like my mum, my dad, they're very, very like supportive about my confidence, stuff like that. And even just beauty. I know that my parents are going to say I'm beautiful, but having those conversations, I've been lucky enough to have those conversations with them to talk about my condition and
mm,
how the Western society and the Asian society can kind of perceive you, and being able to have those open conversations allowed me to kind of dive deep into realizing like this is okay, this is okay. We can have these conversations without feeling judged, and we're always worried about what so and so is going to say and so and so is going to say about you. But when you kind of have those conversations even with your friends, you realize like you're not the only one, but also
mm,
you are the only one to experience what you're experiencing, but there's others to help you and have
yeah.
that network to kind of, even if essentially making yourself feel good, but helping the others to make you feel good as essentially, if that makes sense.
No, that does make sense. I think, like, how was that conversation the first time you, like, spoke with your parents about, like, your eczema and things like that?
They obviously knew growing up I've had this and I'd be very cautious.
Mm.
And I know everyone experiences different ways to deal with it, but for me, I know I like can act like if I get a bit anxious, I will scratch as well
Mm,
without realizing. And then I realize after thinking, oh no, what did I just do?
mm,
But having those conversations and being able to open up allowed me to kind of start to learn to love myself again. I realized keeping it all like in to myself, it didn't really help because I would keep pointing at the negatives,
mm.
worrying, you know, worrying about, how I look in photos of my friends. They look amazing. I don't look that great, but I look fine, Now I look back and think to myself, what was I worrying about?
Yeah,
That
I
is
get
just who
that.
I am, and we're ourselves for a reason. There's no duplicate of you. You are just yourself, and we're unique.
It's so true. It's so true. I feel like mine was like, I think like, yeah, similar to you, like my family knew about my eczema. I feel like my dad was very much on like scratch police. Like every time like I'll be sitting in front of TV or we watching TV as a family and I'll start itching, he'll be like, don't itch it. Don't itch it. I'm like, yeah, I know, but it really hurts. Like I really want to do it. And I remember I just like go into the kitchen and itch it and then
Oh
come
no.
back. He's like, go put cream on it. I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, my mum and dad now they've just got like gloves in the kitchen. I know it's
Mm,
kind of good to have that, but I never used to use it. They like put it on before you start washing up because
yeah.
we know what's gonna happen to your hands. And my dad will get the cream out. He'll just know I start scratch. You can probably hear me scratch,
Yeah, they just
and
know. They just have
it's
a
like an
feeling.
instinct,
Yeah.
right?
Like they're scratching.
Yeah, and then he'll like just out of nowhere magically appear. There's like moisturize. I'm like, oh thanks, need to moisturize. Keep it hydrated a little bit. Like, where'd you get it from? Like, it just magically appears. But yeah, they just know. It's just instinct for them.
Mm.
I use so many different creams. I used to be on steroid cream, and that
Mm.
it helped it calm down a little bit, but then it reappeared. So then I've tried to use different moisturizers and a lot of aloe vera. I feel that that soothes the skin. I don't know.
Mm.
I don't know about you, but for me, it soothes my skin a little bit.
I feel like mine has just been the steroid cream. And I think I have like different strengths of it.
Mm.
So I think like when it gets really bad, I use like the really strong one. And then if it gets like better, then I'll use like a smaller one. People say Vaseline is also supposed to be really
Yeah, I've
good.
heard because of petroleum jelly, right?
Yeah.
But I might try that later. You never know.
Also trying to find skin products that work for you. Like going back to in terms of like beauty standards, I feel like the new thing now is like Korean glass skin. Like,
Yeah.
and I think the whole idea is that you just don't want anything on your face, right? Like it's just supposed to be like your features and that's it. Like no spots, no blackheads, nothing, but
Filtered completely.
filtered.
But then there's these trends. Every day I see a new trend of this is the new makeup trend and this is the way
I
to get
can't
clear
keep
skin.
up.
I can't keep up, and it feels like I'm following, like I'm becoming a sheep in that sense. 'Cause I'm following the
Yeah.
trends. I'm having to stick to that. Why? Why are we doing that?
Like every person's skincare routine is different for a
Yeah.
reason. And I think like different products work for you. Like for example, I know that like for me, Korean and Japanese products work better for my
Mm,
skin
that's really good.
because they are like, I don't know why, but there's this Japanese brand that I use and it's formulated for dry and sensitive skin. And it just works really well for me. So that's just the more it's like it's also that thing is like if it works, just keep it. Don't
Don't
mess the
change it. Don't
system.
change
Don't
the
mess the
system.
system.
Yeah.
So I've been using like the same face wash for like the number of years, the same moisturizer for a number of years. I want to start introducing serums, but I feel like also because of like the eczema, I'm actually a bit scared to try new products.
Because you're adding more and more on top of your
Yeah,
skin, and it could easily affect the barrier.
yeah,
And like everyone, like you said, everyone's different skin. You've got dry skin, you've got combination skin, you've got oily skin. No one's the same. You
yeah.
have to really research and go through that trial
Try.
period.
But talking about fashion and jewelry and skincare and all of that, you actually have your own jewelry brand.
I know, isn't that exciting?
What are kind of then some of the things that people should look at when buying jewelry, for example?
So I 100% say look at the product description. If you're at a shop, ask the sales assistant. If you're looking online, search the product description. There should be specific a specific breakdown of the metals and specific metals to look out for are brass, which is an alloy, so it's a combination of different metals, predominantly made from copper and zinc and maybe elements of nickel, but also nickel's a big factor. So brass, nickel, zinc, copper.
These are what you should look out for.
Yeah, you shouldn't, if you've got sensitive skin, avoid these metals because that's what causes the irritation. It took me a lot of research to realize this is not
Yeah,
right for me. This is not right for other people who may be suffering.
yeah,
But obviously, experience it because maybe people deal with it differently. But if you're looking for more jewelry that's or metals that are safe for your skin, for me, it's stainless steel and 925 sterling silver. It's not as harsh on the skin. It's soft. It doesn't react. And I've got a bit of a flare up, and it's not reacting, and
affecting it.
it's not irritating, which is good. And I forget that I've got it on, which is until I look at it. But yeah, definitely. And I know, touching on a story right now, I there was this trend, this specific jewelry brand. I'm not gonna name and shame, but it was a high end fashion designer, and there was this necklace going around that people wanted to wear, branded necklace. And I thought to myself, this is really nice. Like, how I asked my friend, how much was it? And she said it was like a few £100, let's say. And I was like, wow, that's a lot. She goes, but it's the brand, it's really high quality. And I was like, hmm. So I remember the next day I searched the website, looked at that specific product just to understand why is it so expensive. And there was no product description. And I was like, that's really peculiar. Like, it's really odd to not have a product description, especially as a high end designer brand. For me,
Mm.
that's a red flag in my eyes because I can't essentially go with that because I don't know what's in the metal. It's like you're thinking about you're consuming food, you need to know what's going inside of you. Same with skin, you need to know what you're applying or putting on your skin so it doesn't react. And I remember calling the customer services just to kind of research and dive a bit deeper, just to understand what's in it and what's causing it to be so expensive. Is it made from real gold? I don't know. And eventually I got through to somebody and they said to me that it's made from brass, a cheap metal, which is really bad for your skin if you have really sensitive skin. And I was shocked because that's not really good. You're basically paying for a brand. You're not paying for the metal. You're not paying for
Mm.
anything like that. And I told my friend, as I said to her, no, this is what's in it. And she was shocked because she's paid so much for something that's not that
Yeah.
expensive and quite bad for your skin. So, and I remember a few weeks ago she called me and she said to me, Simmy, you know that necklace that I bought? And I said, yeah. She goes, I don't know, I think the colour's fading a little bit. And I saw on FaceTime, I compared and from the original product and what it looks like now. It's completely different. And I said to her, you spent so much on this.
Yeah.
And it's because of the brass and the metals within the actual necklace that's kind of reacted and oxidized. And that essentially can make it turn green. There's different elements to how the metals can change over time, especially with jewelry.
Yeah. If those are kind of like the metals that you like supposed to like look out for, like why is that? Like why is that like copper, brass, like all of these are like not good for like our skin?
They react with the skin, they can just tarnish, they're not hypoallergenic.
Mm.
And there's no complete reason as to why, but they oxidize really quickly You know, when you wear jewelry and you walk outside, the air in the outside will essentially start to react with your skin.
Yeah.
It can trigger the eczema. So if you're wearing it on top of your eczema, you'll start to feel that sensation, that stinging sensation, and then you want to itch it. But in terms of the oxidization, that's when it starts to turn green. And a lot of artificial jewelry I used to wear, especially going back to Indian jewelry, my neck would turn green, and that's when I started to realize this is not normal. This is not
Yeah.
okay. And you pay so much for something made so cheaply. It kind of essentially ruins the fact that you're paying for quality over quantity, and quality
Mm.
is so important, especially people like ourselves with these conditions. It's really important to kind of advocate that
Yeah.
there's certain metals that we should avoid, and I really am trying to advocate that and be really transparent. If even if you don't want to buy from me or whatever like that, look at the product description. You know, brass, nickel, zinc, lead, cadmium. If you want to really list out the right metals, those are what you need to avoid, because if you have these conditions or sensitivities or just want to be a bit more knowledgeable, that's not good for you, and it will hopefully benefit somebody, and hopefully some of the listeners will start to look into that and start researching their
Yes.
jewelry.
Like that how NKD came about. Like, but it's like I feel like it's like you're still
Oh,
baby.
it's my baby. I've been running it for about over 2 years now, I'd say. So NKD Jewellery stands for Naked Jewellery, and it's the jewellery, and I've anticipated all the jewellery is lightweight, dainty, and hypoallergenic. And that being dainty and lightweight, it's like you've got the feeling of having nothing on.
Mm.
So many people have told me that. And I remember when someone tries on their necklace or their bracelet or whatever, and I'll start talking to them, and then eventually they've just forgotten they've got their bracelet on. They're like, "Oh, it's so lightweight, I forgot." That's what's really important. The mission and the overall slogan is the feeling of having nothing on, which is naked, right? You feel naked, and that's the
Mm.
kind of the concept.
Yeah.
But I created it because, like I said earlier, I have eczema. Wearing jewelry really, I struggled a lot because it would irritate my skin, and I just kind of stopped completely because I need to feel comfortable. But having, thankfully, a background in chemistry, I had a degree. I went to uni. I studied chemistry, and I kind of want to kind of combine my passion
Mm.
for jewelry with my knowledge of chemistry, but also admire that people look amazing with this different type of jewelry. But how can I make it lightweight, dainty, and hypoallergenic? That's
Yeah.
how I kind of researched and created NKD jewelry. You know, like I said earlier, about feeling beautiful and the feeling of having that constant acceptance of yourself. And
Yeah.
I eventually realized that I want to create a brand that not only just sells jewelry, but is very transparent, empowers others to feel beautiful and feel imperfectly perfect, because
Mm.
there is no beauty standard that we should follow. It's how you feel and how you should be following. And if it's minimalistic jewelry, if it's gemstone jewelry, whatever suits your style is what kind of draws to your own individuality.
I really wish you all the best with it
Oh,
as
thank you so
well.
much.
But we are coming towards the end of the episode now. But I was gonna ask, like, we've spoken so much about eczema and skin sensitivities and all of that. Like, what would be your advice for someone who is going through this at this current moment?
Definitely speak to somebody, maybe reach out or seek medical help, because you don't want to deal with it. Maybe there's something that a medical professional can provide to help you,
Mm.
but also to accept that just because your eczema or your certain skin sensitivity is visible, it doesn't define who you are,
Yeah.
and that beauty is, there's no there's no norm, there's no actual normal category that one size fits all that we need to fit and we need to be a part of. And
Mm.
I'd say that's how I would kind of answer that question, just to accept who you are and learn to love yourself for sure. But with eczema, find the right treatment for yourself. It takes a long time,
Yeah.
but once you finally get there, that's when you feel like you've hit the jackpot.
Oh, good, Simmy. I've actually loved having you on the
Oh, thank you. I love
podcast.
being on here. Thank you so much for having me.